Okay, once again, welcome to our subject, agricultural machine design. So this time we are going to continue on the introductory part of this subject, which is the general considerations in machine design. So unsay mga butang nga atong i-consider when we are going to design a machine. So the first one is we have to take into consideration the type of load and stresses caused by the load. So unsa kuno ang mga stresses, no? It's caused by the load. So the load on a machine component may act in several ways due to which the internal stresses are set up. For example, in a specific part of the machine, like the shafting, no? Unsa may mga stresses that the shafting will experience. Of course, no, kung shafting na siya na anay torsional stresses, no, naapod siya, it could be bending, no, it could also be maybe tension or maybe compression. So these maybe are the stresses that the specific machine component will be experiencing. So number 2 is the type of motion or kinematics of machine parts, no? So the successful operation of any machine depends largely upon the simplest arrangement of the parts, which will give the motion required. The motion of the parts may be rectilinear, curvilinear, constant velocity, constant acceleration. So this is the thing that you have to consider. For example, if you are designing a banana slicer, no, so there are many ways in which the banana can be sliced, no. So it can be chopped directly by direct motion, no. Tawagan na it could be a motion that is vertical or straight, no, or it can be a horizontal motion back and forth, no. So that is still part of the rectilinear motion. So you have to consider unsa kay motion nga gusto nimong i-apply regarding with that kind of problem or situation that you are having in your machine. It could be curvilinear. So there are different motion that you can adapt, no, but you have to consider that the simplest one is the best one, no. So the third thing that we have to consider is the selection of materials. Unsa nga klase nga materials we are going to apply or use. It is essential that a designer should have a thorough knowledge of the properties of the materials and their behavior under working conditions. Some of the important characteristics of materials are strength, say ang kalikunon, durability, flexibility, weight, resistance to heat and corrosions, ability to cast, welded or hardened, machinability, electrical conductivity. So you should be able to identify the best material for that given situation, no? For example, if you are going to use the machine near the sea or doon sa dagat, so what could be a good material that will be used in there, no? So something maybe resistant to corrosion, kay kung dali ra siya makorode, so dali pud siya madaot ng yung mga materials, no. So you have to think of what the specific materials that could be applicable in your specific problem or concept that you are going to apply. Next is the form and size of parts. The form and size are based on judgment. The smallest practicable cross-section may be used, but it may be checked that the stresses induced in the design cross-section are reasonably safe. In order to design any machine part for form and size, it is necessary to know the forces which the part must sustain. it is also important to anticipate any suddenly applied or impact load which may cause failure. No, so this in this case, no, it should not be just nga tagan-tagan, but it says here the smallest practicable cross section, meaning to say pinakagamay nga it will not also affect the strength and durability of that particular part, no. Kay here what it suggests here, smallest practicable cross section, it is considering also the cost, no. It is safer to have material, for example shafting. It is safe, no, to have the bigger size of cross section of the shafting, but it also affects the cost, no, not only on the cost of that specific part, but it also affects all other parts, no. Okay, for example ang bearing, it has to be bigger also, and all the parts kay bugat na siya, it has to adjust also the sizes of the frames and all other parts, no. So you have to really make a computation and in the design of what how big or how small is that specific part. Okay, number 5 is the frictional resistance and lubrications. So there is always a loss of power due to frictional resistance, no? And it should be noted that the friction of starting is higher than that of running friction. It is therefore essential that a careful attention must be given to the matter of lubrication of all surfaces which may move in contact with others, whether in rotating, sliding, or rolling bearing. So this is also a thing that you have to consider, no, because all materials will wear out, no, but most specifically they are in contact with each other. So there is this frictional resistance. So when the frictional resistance is too strong, it will also cause us the loss of power. So in that case, lubrication is really a necessary, no. So it should have that kanang provision of how can you apply the lubrication, no. So you see mga machines, no, naagyan na sila'y kuan kanang access for lubrication. Otherwise it will also affect the performance of the system or machine. Okay, number 6 is convenient and economical features. In designing, the operating features of the machine should be carefully studied. The starting, controlling, and stopping levers should be located on the basis of convenient handling. The adjustment for wear must be provided, employing the various take-up devices and arranging them so that the alignment of parts is preserved. If parts are to be changed for different products or replaced on account of wear or breakage, easy access should be provided, and the necessity of removing other parts to accomplish this should be avoided if possible. So convenient on economical features, no, kay when you say convenient, dapat ang operator na agad say easy access, no. So what if kanang nag-drive kag tractor unya gamay ka nga tao, and then the brake is located layo kaayo and you cannot access it, so that's a big problem. So ang imong driveanan is too small, dako kay nga tractor, ang imong driveanan murag butunis, so it's not convenient, no. And it says is also here that you have to think of this. For example, if that part could be broken, how easy it is to access, to replace or remove that part, no. Kay it will also cost much if gamay ra kaayo nga the breakage na sa ilawom sa inyong machine, and then you have to dismantle everything, no? Mabungkag siya, all the parts are removed only to access to that specific part, no? So it should be part of the planning, no? Nga there should be easy access to that particular part. Okay, the use of standard parts. The use of standard parts is closely related to cost, no? Because the cost of standard or stock parts is only a fraction of the cost of similar parts made to order. The standard or stock parts should be used whenever possible. Parts for which patterns are already in existence, such as gears, pulleys, and bearings, and parts which may be selected from regular shop stock, such as screw, nuts, and pins. Bolts and studs should be as few as possible to avoid the delay caused by changing drills, reamers, and taps, and also to decrease the number of wrenches required. Okay, so use of standard parts. Unsa ning mga standard parts? When we say standard parts, these parts are already available in the market, no? So meaning to say, mga kasagarang mga store na siya, no, in existence, no? And the sizes and the specifications are already given, no? So this is cheaper, no, as compared kung imo nang magpahimo gyud kag kaugalingon imo nga for the specific parts, no? So this is because these standard parts are produced in mass production, so cost per unit is already very cheap, no? So that's the reason why it's said here we have to use that standard parts to reduce the cost of the machine, no? And then it says here also if possible you have to use limited sizes of bolts and studs, no? Nga so that there will be less changing of wrenches or kanang mga drills, no? Kay kung daghan kag mga parts, for example bolts line og sizes, so you will be looking kung mag-tighten ka, you are looking for different sizes of wrenches also, no? So it's impractical. Okay, number 8 is the safety of operation, no? Some machines are dangerous to operate, especially those which are speeded up to ensure production of a maximum rate. Therefore, any moving parts of a machine which is within the zone of a worker is considered an accident hazard and may be cause for an injury. So it is therefore necessary that a designer should always provide safety devices for the safety of the operator. The safety appliances should in no way interfere with operation of the machine. Okay, so safety is the number one consideration po, no? Kay especially for the operator. So all moving parts, it should be covered and should not be accessed by the worker, no? Dili lang na pwede nga butangan lang na og karatula nga do not touch or keep away or avoid, no, touching, no? Okay, but you should have provided safety devices like cover, it could be screen, no, nga dili ma-access by any person that is near, no? So that is number 8, safety of operation. Okay, number 9 is workshop facilities. A designer engineer should be familiar with the limitations of his employer's workshop. In order to avoid the necessity of having work done in some other workshop, it is sometimes necessary to plan and supervise the workshop operations and to draft methods for casting, handling, and machining special parts. Okay, so here you have to consider, no, if you are the designer, if you are an engineer, design kag machine, you should not design a machine that will be impossible for your shop to be manufactured. Kay For example, mag-design kag machine nga some of your parts dili ninyo ma-manufacture, kay you have to link it with other shops, no, and it could be costly. So you have to consider your own shop kung sa may makaya ninyo. Kung naalang mo yung late machine, so you have to think of your machine nga makaya ra sa inyong kaugalingon nga workshop, no. So that is workshop facilities, no. This is also to avoid additional cost. More, for example, if you are designing a machine and then some of the parts cannot be manufactured in your shop, and you have to order it from other shops, no, and you will become less priority kay naampo na sila yung mga kaugalingon nga mga projects or activities. So most likely matanggong ang inyong trabaho, no. So this is also very important. You have to know your workshop capacity or facility. Okay, this one is number of machines to be manufactured. The number of articles or machines to be manufactured affects the design in a number of ways. The engineering and shop costs are called fixed charges, or overhead expenses are distributed over the number of articles to be manufactured. If only a few articles are to be made, extra expenses are not justified unless a machine is large or some special design. An order calling for small number of the project will not permit any undue expense in the workshop processes, so that the designer should restrict his specification to standard parts as much as possible. Okay, this is very important, no. When you are designing a machine, you have to consider how many, you have to make a projection how many machines that could be produced, no. For example, in Abaca is only found in Leyte, in some parts of Leyte, and some parts of Mindanao, and some parts of Luzon, no. So unlike rice or other crops, no, nga all over the country available siya. So meaning to say, the use of, if you are going to mechanize the production of Abaca, means it is limited, no. So the number of machines that you are going to manufacture also affects the cost of your machine. Okay, the smaller the number, the cost of the machine will become higher, no. Okay, for example, if you are going to manufacture to produce, ang imong business is production of the Abaca stripping machine, for example, in that case. So you are going only na project na nimo if you are to mechanize the whole country, you will only produce about 100 units. And then mag-business ka ana, you are going to loan to buy the equipment that you need for the production mo, gasto kag about let's say 3 million, no? 3 million. That 3 million will be divided into the cost of the individual machine. So 3 million divided by 100 units, so napatong na add na dito. Unlike kung for example 1,000 expected nga number of units that will be produced of that kind of machine, so meaning say 3 million divided by 1,000, so the cost of the machine, individual machine, are becoming lower na, no, because of that kuan ka nang giingon nga fixed cost, fixed charges, no. So this is very important also, kay if mag-design kay machine nya usara di kabuk ang mahimo ana kay walay mo gamit nga lain, so you are just spending money, no, wala kay income, wala kay ma-return, no. Okay, number 11 is cost of construction. This is also very important. The cost of construction of an article is the most important consideration involved in design. In some cases, it is quite possible that the high cost of an article may immediately bar it from further considerations. So if an article has been invented and tests of handmade samples have shown that it has commercial value, it is then possible to justify the expenditure of a considerable sum of money in the design and the development of automatic machines to produce the article, especially if it can be sold in large numbers. The aim of design engineer under all considerations should be to reduce the manufacturing cost to the minimum. Okay, so mao gini no kay we are thinking of business, we are thinking of income, no, kay we cannot survive if for example your company is a designer and you could not produce income, your company will not survive later on, no. So in this case, it says here, if an article has been invented and tests of handmade samples have shown that it has commercial value, then it is then possible to justifiable na siya pag-develop og machines for that specific purpose to produce the product, no. For example, ka-develop ka og medicine for COVID-19 capsule or in a form of unsa man kanang klaseng pag-take ana ay lang ta capsule, no. So because that product, the capsule, the COVID-19 medicine capsule that you develop, you expect it nga mahalin dyan na siya, pila ka millions ang mahalin na. So it is justifiable to develop machines nga mo produce ana nga capsule, no. So this is what it means by this cost of construction, no. Otherwise wala if you do not consider the cost of construction. Okay, number 12 is every machine or structure must be assembled as a unit before it can function. Large units must often be assembled in the shop, tested, and then taken to be transported to their place of service. The final location of any machine is important, and the design engineer must anticipate the exact location and the local facilities for erection, no. So assembling is also a thing that you have to consider. For example, if you have a very large unit, so big machine system, no, nga na may mga machine nga bigger than the transport truck, no. So the consideration is it should be dismantled into different parts, no. But here you should be assured nga it is working, no, before it is being transported. And then the final location of any machine, of the machine, should be also anticipated, no. For example, ba dito ang ilang foundation na established na ba, no, na ba siya balay or na ba siya connection, no, for it to be working, no, before this is being transported to the specific location. Okay, so that's all. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.